All right, Vancouver, get ready. Put your hands together. Welcome to the stage. It's Dan Quinn.
How we doing, Vancouver? Nice to see you. Pretty happy to be here. I think a lot of you know me now, and you know that I'm a married man. Where are my married people out there? Not that many in Vancouver, okay. Nobody can afford it yet. All right, I get it. I'm happily married. I like being married. Some people say when you get married, the spontaneity in your sex life disappears. I'm here to tell you that's not always the case. Just a couple weeks ago, my wife and I were driving down the road, and out of nowhere, she just started rubbing the outside of my thigh. Then she started rubbing the inside of my thigh, and I was like, all right, here it goes. And then she looked at me and said, "Where's your phone? This song sucks." So I got that going for me right there. I'm not gonna lie, that held me over for 2 weeks. I was like, thanks, babe, I really needed that. That was great, you know? And I do love my wife. I love her, and it kind of pisses me off sometimes how much I love her, because it shows up in unexpected ways. A little while ago, I was having this dream about another woman. And in the middle of the dream, this woman hit on me, and I was like, whoa, I can't. I'm married. And then I woke up in the morning, I was like, fuck. I could have let that one play out. That doesn't count as cheating if it happens in your dream. That's just a freebie from God right there. You just gotta enjoy that, wake up in the morning, and shut the fuck up. How was your sleep? Mine was awesome. Nice to see you. Have a good day. But I'd not tell my wife that story. My wife takes dreams very seriously. I don't know if you're one of these people that thinks that dreams sometimes are like from the future, and you just gotta descramble it like it's a Da Vinci Code, and then you'll know what's gonna happen to you. That's my wife. She'll come to you someday. She's like, I was having this dream last night where I was on an airplane, and it didn't have any wings, and then a beach volleyball game broke out, and I couldn't remember how to serve. What do you think that means? Do you think that means I'm getting promoted? Like, no, I think it means you had too much fucking pasta. What's wrong with you? But I don't say that because I want to stay married, so I say, maybe. Because my wife believes in dreams so much, she's actually gotten mad at me for something I did in her dream. Have you had that happen, some of you? Her dream pissed at me. She actually woke me up. She's like, wake up. And I was like, what? She's like, do you know what you did in my dream last night? I was like, no. Wait, do you know what I did in my dream last night? I'm sorry, honey. One got past the guards. I don't know what happened. I can only say no so many times. And she's like, what? I'm like, nothing. Never mind. What was your story? She's like, well, we were at a house party, and all our friends were there, and you were masturbating into a pop bottle. You need to apologize right now. And I'm like, no, I'm not apologizing. First off, I need more context on the dream. All right, was it weird what I was doing? Like, were my friends staring at me? And I was in the corner with a pop bottle, like, don't look at me! I have a problem, I'm sorry! Or, was a pop bottle in the middle of the room, all my friends are around and cheering, and I was trying to masturbate into the pop bottle. Because I think that would be very impressive. Like, you can do it! I'm like, I know! Especially at my age, you'd have to move that pop bottle much closer, I think, you know? She's like, you need to apologize. I was like, I'm not apologizing. Wait, I think I know what this means. You're getting promoted. But I try to make my wife's dreams come true. I try to do that. This summer, we went to Morocco. Before we went, my wife came to me and she said, I want to buy this water jug. There's these beautiful copper water jugs. You see them at nice Indian restaurants all the time. She's like, I want to get that. And I go, what does it look like? And then she pulled out her phone and showed me a picture of it on Amazon. And I was like, well, why don't we just get that one? It's $100. It'll be here in 2 days. Right? And she's like, no, it'll be way cheaper there, and I'm not supporting Jeff Bezos, okay? We're getting it there. So I'm like, way cheaper, that appealed to me, right? So we go to Morocco. First things we do is we leave all our bags at the hotel room, right? And then we go out into the markets to look for this thing. And there's thousands and thousands of stalls and markets in Morocco, if you've ever been. So we go out and we're looking for this thing, and we go into store after store, and we can't find it, right? Nobody even knows what we're talking about. We're showing the photos like we're a couple looking for their lost child. An MOW, like, have you seen this? And they're like, no. I'm worried we're being kind of racist, because they're like, isn't that from India? We're in Morocco. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe, you know? We'd show some people, and they're like, why don't you just get it off Amazon? It's $100, it'll be you home. Where do you think we got all our shit from? Right there, that's... Right there, here's my card, you can get it, right? So I look for this jug, my wife and I, we're going through the streets, it's 38 degrees, I'm pouring in sweat, I'm just like, I just want to find this thing, I just want to give up. And then 6 hours in, we go into a store, and my wife spots the exact jug. So her eyes light up, she's like, oh my God, I found the jug. I'm like, great, awesome. But if you've ever been to any of these countries, you know there's no prices on anything, right? So you got to negotiate. And you know about negotiating, the number one rule is you have to make them think that you don't actually want it. But my wife is blowing that with every fucking second. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe we found this. I would pay anything for it. This thing is amazing. We looked for 6 hours. This is the only one in all of Morocco. Well, this negotiation is starting out well, right? You can see the shopkeeper's eyes light up. He's like, this is gonna be a good day. My kids are going to American college, yes. So he comes over, and I don't know why I took the reins in negotiating. I thought maybe I'd be good at it, right? So he starts out and he says 1,600 dharma. I don't know what that is, but I knew it was too high. So I was like, okay, then I'll say a price, he'll say a price, and we'll negotiate, right? That's how it works. He goes 1,600, I go 800. And then he goes, no. I was like, fuck, I don't think this guy knows how to negotiate. Right? So I go 1,000, he goes 1,550. I am getting slaughtered, right? So finally I pay him 1,300. We get back to the hotel. I Google how much 1,300 dharma is. I paid $160. Yeah. We don't even use it. It's the most expensive thing in our kitchen now. It's behind glass with lights on it. We're like, $160 for that thing right there. I just turned 50 a couple weeks ago. Thank you. I always thought when I turned 50, I want to be one of those guys that's like the in-shape guys in their 50, you know what I'm talking about? There's lots here in Vancouver, right? They're always skiing all the time, playing squash twice a week. You know, you're like, I want to be that guy when I turn 50. Then I turned 50, and I realized that guy is in a lot of pain. That guy hurts so much. You have no idea the amount of lotions and creams he has, massage rollers and balls. He's got a stretching routine with bands he's got to do every morning. He's like, I can still do this. I'm still young. I'm a good person. Smells like Tiger Balm. You don't want to be that guy. And it's weird getting older because things sneak up on you. I had to get reading glasses this year. And here's the thing. Nobody ever tells you you're losing your eyesight. You just start figuring it out slowly, right? Like if you've been through this, like the last year, I just spent getting mad at different companies. Every time I pick up a label, I'd be like, why would they choose such a small and fuzzy font? This is important information, you know. What is this, wingdings? That last joke is for about 3 people in the room, the font nerds. A couple of font nerds got wingdings. The rest of you are like, I think this guy might be a wingding. I don't know what he said there. Makes no sense. But the biggest thing I feel is like turning 50s, I'm middle-aged, and I feel middle-aged around 20-year-olds now. They fucking scare me. Because here's the thing, I know technology's gonna bite me in the ass one day, because I'm old enough to remember when my parents couldn't set the clock on the VCR. Anybody out there that age, you know what I mean? And remember what you thought of your parents and how dumb they were? They'd be like, Danny, you gotta set the clock on the VCR, and you come like, oh my God, you're so dumb! What is wrong with you? Hold this for 3 seconds, push, 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 boom, it's so easy! How do you even breathe? And I know that moment's coming for me, okay? Technology is gonna reach a point one day where I don't understand it. I'm gonna be at a coffee shop somewhere, trying to figure out the latest payment system, waving my hands, using my eyes. And some 20-year-old behind the counter is just gonna look at me like, oh my God, you're so dumb. You just gotta use your emotions. I am using my emotions! That's anger, that's for credit. You gotta use melancholy, that's for debit. Don't do melancholy. But I am scared of 20-year-olds right now. It's a weird thing, especially with social media. Apparently, they hate all old white people now. That's a weird thing to reach that category and find out you're just hated by every 20-year-old. They're all like, we gotta take down the white male patriarchy. And I'm like, I'm poor too. I don't know what power you think I have. I tell dick jokes for a living. I am not in charge of shit. I don't know. We're both on the bus together here. I don't know. You know? And it's so weird, like being a comedian now, you have to worry about being offensive. Don't want to offend anybody. That's a big thing. We're scared of it. We're worried about getting canceled. And here's the thing, I am not an offensive comedian. I don't think any of the comedians on the show are offensive. There are comedians right now that say offensive things, and those comedians are playing much larger venues than us. So. So if you could be offended at something, that'd be really good. That'd be nice. Oh my gosh. But here's the thing I do like about 20-year-olds. They get a lot of flack right now, but I actually like them because they're probably the nicest generation in history. They really are, because the number one thing that they care about is feelings. They don't want anybody's feelings to get hurt. I mean, especially somebody they know's feelings. Even if they don't know, that's the most upsetting thing for them. And if you ever upset their feelings, they go online and fucking let everybody know. They'll spend hours making memes with 4 different apps, right? And then sit back and wait to see how many likes they got. It's weird. But it's pretty good thing, because I actually grew up in the 80s. And in the 80s, if you grew up in the 80s, I didn't even know you were allowed to have feelings. Right? Like, nobody gave a shit about your feelings in the 80s. Right? Nobody cared. In fact, we had a saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Yeah, it turns out words can hurt a lot, actually. Like, a lot. In fact, that's why most of my generation is in therapy, okay? You get beat up in high school, that heals, but you get called fat at prom? That's years of therapy, okay? That's a tough one. And I do feel for him, because people ask me all the time, like, hey, why are you a comedian? They want to know why I'm a comedian. I actually got bullied in school. I got bullied a lot, and I was 5'3" going to high school, and comedy was a good way for me to kind of get through that. And here's the thing, too. I don't know if has anybody here been bullied, by the way? Oh, like 6 of you, okay. Just a room full of bullies then, okay. I guess you guys are gonna hate this fucking joke. Don't want to offend the bullies. They'll take me out back and beat the shit out of me. But I got bullied, and you know what they used to tell us if you got bullied in the 80s? They'd be like, you just need to stand up to him. You just need to stand up to him? Have you fucking seen the size of that guy? He's not the bully because he's the smallest guy in school. He's twice the size. He's had a mustache since grade 8. My dad is 50-50 against him at best. He hit on the teacher and he has a shot, okay? So what I'd actually stood up to my bully one day, and I didn't mean to, it wasn't planned, but what happened was, one day at recess, I go into the gymnasium, and I grew up in a small town in northern Alberta, kindergarten through grade 12, one school, entire school. So at recess, everybody would go into the gymnasium, and that's what we would do for recess for 15 minutes. It'd be like grade 1 students all the way up to grade 12 students. And I walk in there one day, and it is mayhem in the gym. Kids are crying, screaming, running around, and I'm trying to piece it together. And what has happened is somebody's left out like a rack of volleyballs. And the bully is taking these volleyballs, and he's playing murder ball with random kids, just like, ah, boom! Then laughing like, ah, boom! Kids are crying, glasses are broken, and no teachers anywhere. There's no teachers. They're just outside smoking, I guess. They're like, we left out volleyballs. What's the worst that could happen, right? So kids are getting beaned, and I walk in, and all of a sudden, this volleyball comes right for my head. And I just, out of nowhere, I just caught it. It's like, whoop. And I see you through it without thinking. I just, boom, everything right back at him. And it goes right for him. And even as it's going for him, I was like, oh, this is not fucking good, man. Duck, get down, buddy, get down! Right? And he does it, goes right, boom, smacks him in the face. And he goes flying back, lands on his ass. The whole gym goes quiet. And everybody's like, oh my God, is this the moment our lives are about to change? Kids start putting their glasses back together. They're looking at me, looking at him, like, what's gonna happen? And I know what you guys are thinking. You're like, this is the moment where you stood up to the bully, and the bully realized he could be bullied too. And then he never bullied anyone again. Well, if you're thinking that, you're fucking wrong, I'll tell you that. What he did is he got up and went, you are fucking dead. And he ran straight at me. But you're like, yeah, Dan, but that's the moment when you reach back, you uppercut him, and you drop the bully. Like David taking down Goliath. Nope, that's not what I did either. You know what I did? I did what everybody does in this situation. I ran. I ran and I ran. I ran like my life depended on it, which, by the way, is actually really fast. Like, I was like one of those gazelles with a lion on his ass. My eyes were wide. I was like, oh, this is close. You know, doing moves and shit I didn't even know I had. I ran for so long, almost 10 minutes straight. By the time he caught me, he was too tired to beat me up. And that's the day I defeated the bully. Pretty big day. Pretty big day. Yeah, pretty awesome. Oh, I don't have any kids. It's weird because a lot of my friends have kids now, and they still want my wife and I to hang out with them. So I don't know if you're maybe there's a few in the room like that. You're the couple that doesn't have the kids, and you get invited to the kids' parties. And I always thought that when people had young kids, they'd stop drinking. Yeah, no, they just start way earlier in the day, okay? Like if you used to party at 8 p.m., now it's like 11 a.m. on Saturday, you know, right? And there's always some mother going around. If it's got orange juice, it doesn't count as drinking before noon. It's a mimosa now, yeah! You know? And then they gather us. Like, it's weird because they can't understand why my wife and I would choose not to have kids, right? So all the kids will be playing, and then all the other parents, they'll gather my wife and I around, and they gotta go like, why don't you guys have kids? How come you don't have kids? And I don't wanna be honest with them, right? I can't be like, hey, you hear the sound of your kids playing right now? Yeah, we hate that fucking sound. How do you not hear that? It sounds like they're murdering dolphins. How is that the sound of pure joy? And here's the thing, parents, you don't even hear that sound anymore. They can just tune it out, carry on with their lives. I don't know if you've ever been talking on the phone with a parent or maybe at a dinner table. They're just like, so on Saturday, we're gonna go to a hockey game. I don't know if you think you're coming, and all you're like is, oh my God, shut your fucking kid up! I'm gonna stab myself in the leg, you know? And parents, they don't even hear it. It's just white noise. In fact, the only time they panic is when there's no sound. All of a sudden, they're like, oh my God, you hear that? And I'm like, no, isn't that amazing? And they're like, we need to call 911 right now. Let's fucking go. We got shit to do. We don't have any kids. I some days wish that we had kids because my wife treats me like a child instead. She can't help it. If I'm leaving, she's like, let's just zip up your coat a little bit. There you go. That's a little scoochie-woochie up there. Right? Make sure you put your mittens on. Okay, honey, I just turned 50. True story, at Christmas, my mom is baking buns in the kitchen. I'm in the living room. I get up and I go to my wife, I'm gonna go get a bun from the kitchen. That should seem very normal and easy, right? I walk in the kitchen, and then my wife yells like she's worried she didn't say it fast enough. She's like, don't eat the buns on the table, they're not baked yet. I just stopped, I was like, how fucking dumb does she think I am that I can't tell the difference between the raw buns here and the freshly baked ones here? Different color, brown, beautiful smell filling the whole kitchen. In her mind, she just pictured me walking in there like, These taste funny. Honey, where's the bleach? I need to wash this down. But I don't know what it's like to be a parent. I gotta be honest, I don't know what it's like. I heard a comic and some people talking about the other day. Being a mother is the hardest job in the world. Being a stay-at-home mother is the hardest job in the world. You're nodding along. And I heard that, and I was like, well, that's a fucking crock of shit. Really? Of all the jobs, that's the hardest one of every job. Like harder than telling jokes in Golden, okay? Really? You want to switch? And I thought that until my friends asked me to babysit their toddlers for an entire weekend. I would like to apologize to all the mothers in the room. You have the crown back. That is the hardest job in the world. First off, there's no pay. There's no lunch breaks. Nobody ever says thank you. That would be nice once in a while, right, ladies? A little hello, thank you. And especially if they're not your kids, they do not give a fuck about you at all. They just treat you like you work for them. They're a boss walking around. He's like, I just shit on the floor. Pick that up, pick that up. What do you do? Pick that up. And you're just like, I guess I gotta pick this up. I don't know what else. I can't just leave it. Oh my God, this is the worst job in the world. It is a terrible job. I would rather have any other job in the world. I would rather be a chef in Gordon Ramsay's kitchen than try to cook for a 3-year-old. They are the pickiest fuckers on the planet. I don't know what it is. First off, they always only like one dish, right? And you have to nail it. And as soon as they get it in that high chair, they just act like they're royalty in a Michelin restaurant. They're just like, bring me your best, sir. So these kids, their favorite dish was Kraft dinner with mayonnaise. Yeah, disgusting, I know. But they didn't like anything else I made, so I made that. And then they took 3 bites. Kid took 3 bites, looked at me and went, this tastes bad, and pushed it on the floor. Like I wasn't just standing there going, listen, you little fucker, I could kill you, you know that? And sometimes they get cocky too. They make eye contact with you, do it slowly, like, this isn't any good. I don't even like mayonnaise. I just like the way it hits the floor. I'd rather have any other job, honestly. I'd rather buy water jugs in Morocco for a living than try to get a 3-year-old to wear the outfit I picked out that day. I don't know if you've ever had that moment when they don't want to wear anything. There's nothing you can do. You just walk out of there, you give up. Like, I guess they're not fucking wearing pants today. No, I tried to get him to wear pants. He won't wear pants. Yeah, he threw his underwear at my face and called me a stupid poo-poo head. So the entire weekend, I had to look after these kids. And at the end of the weekend, the parents came back. They come up to me, and I had to be honest. I was like, listen, I failed. I'm sorry. I'm a terrible babysitter. I couldn't get them to like me. They never listened to me. Didn't go to bed when I said, I'm sorry, I failed. I'll never do this again. And the parents looked at me and went, are the kids still alive? I said, yes. And they went, you fucking nailed it. How many bites of Kraft dinner did you get down? I'm like, 3, and they're like, pretty good, pretty good. He never wears his pants, don't worry about it. I'm like, I don't care, I quit. I'm going back to Golden to tell jokes, okay? Because at least when they didn't laugh at me in Golden, they just stared. I don't know if you've ever tried to make a 3-year-old laugh and failed. They're just like, boring. Not funny. I think I'm offended. You guys been a lot of fun, Vancouver. Enjoy the rest of the night. Good night, take care.